Can you LS swap a car using Temu parts? We're about to find out. My Miata drift car has had a rough life, from Temu superchargers exploding to twin turbo setups not working. We've actually blown 5 engines. It's time for a change. So we partnered with Temu to throw this beautiful LS into the drift car. They sent us every single thing they make for an LS swap. We have the oil pan already installed, this beautiful gigantic intake that's gonna go right there. It's enormous. That's gonna look so good. We have headers and a full exhaust system that might need some tweaking and fine tuning, but that'll be Cam's job. Full swap wiring harness. Looks complicated. Hopefully somebody can help us with that. And I forget what this is, but it says LS on it, so you know it's meant for this. Very exciting. Motor mounts.
That's actually great. I thought we were making our own engine mounts.
Not when you can get them for $40 on Temu, we're not. But don't worry, there'll be plenty of fabrication getting this gigantic engine to fit in that tiny car. Every part of the swap except the engine and transmission is from Temu. This is gonna be our biggest project yet. Let's get to work. We're gonna have that LS engine running in the car by the end of this video, so make sure and stick around. You guys know we're huge fans of Temu here at the Rad Factory, so if you haven't downloaded the Temu app yet, now is the perfect time to do it. If you use our code DYA8449, you get $100 in coupons. Let's go ahead and go into our Temu app and use our code DYA8449. Just put it in the search bar, hit search, and we got a huge Black Friday sale going on. $100 coupon bundle, claim now. What can we get? Wow, there's so many options. See, this is the intake manifold that we're using in the Miata. This thing looks so cool, highly recommend it. Here's our LS conversion engine mounts. Great deal on the LS oil pan. All this stuff is such a better deal than buying it anywhere else. You guys gotta download the Temu app. And make sure and use our code DYA8449 to get huge savings. Thank you to Temu for sponsoring today's video. The very first order of business before we start ripping anything out of this car is to get it on the scales and get an actual weight. So at the end of the video, we can weigh it with the LS and see how much heavier a big V8 is versus a turbo Miata engine. All right, lower her down. And we got, 547 on this side. We are maxing out these scales that only go to 550, but it's under it.
I got an error on this side.
Oh no! So that means it's more than 550.
More than 550.
Ah, well shoot. 326 and 381 in the rear, and then we had 547 in the front, and then we blew out the scale on the other side, so we're gonna estimate that at 560, which gives us a total of 1,814 pounds, which is actually pretty light. And when we have a 400-ish horsepower LS in it, it's gonna be rowdy. So stay tuned for that. Time to say goodbye to the Miata engine. I wish I could say they were good engines, but they just never worked. So out with the old and in with the new. She's basically free. It is a fairly big iron block 4-cylinder that we're gonna be switching for the aluminum V8. So we may not actually gain that much size and weight. All right, we have room for activities. I don't know how to do this, to be honest with you. I don't know. We've never done an LS swap. I think pretty much everything has to leave. Like, we're not keeping, that's the beauty of the drift car, at least. We don't have to use any of the chassis harness, really.
We're not integrating the engine harness into the chassis harness really whatsoever. It'd be great if the cluster worked, so we could have like a tack and a speedo.
So basically all this needs to go. We're trying to fit a fairly large engine in a fairly small space, so that means there's a lot of cutting that needs to happen.
We're basically doubling the amount of pistons going into this engine bay. What we've been having to do is cut the corners of this engine bay out so that everything can clear.
It's time for the first engine test fitting. The first of probably about 200 times. We're gonna take this engine in and out just to kind of see what we're working with.
Go back just a little bit.
Hey, it's looking good. It technically fits.
Fitting so far.
That looks really good, and it's not actually as big as you would think. It fits pretty reasonably, in my opinion.
I mean, we definitely had to clearance what we cleared. We even cleared the steering shaft, which is pretty cool.
It's freaking sweet looking. We've had some second thoughts on this whole project just because of the amount of work it's going to be, but seeing it in there does get me excited. What do you think?
I am so excited. I'm excited to hear what this engine sounds like. We actually haven't talked about the engine at all, have we?
No, I don't think so. So this is a aluminum 5.3 fully built bottom end. So there might be some Temu turbos or superchargers in the future, but that'll be a little while. Huge shout out to my buddy Trey Herrera for coming through on the engine build. This was just sitting in his shed and he's like, well, why don't you take it? And so that's what we did. The next major hurdle, will the Temu headers clear our steering column?
Okay. We might have a little bit more clearance getting around our steering shaft, because that's going to be a tight spot.
Hard to tell until we get the full thing in there. I mean, there's technically going to be room. It's going to be quite a pain extending from the headers. The headers are great, but then building the rest of the exhaust off of that is going to be a task.
I'm not looking forward to that. So normally I love building exhaust, but this I'm not really looking forward to too much.
We have come to a controversial point of the build.
This is a stock Miata differential.
Designed to hold about 100 horsepower from the factory, and we're gonna try and quadruple that. Most people that LS swap Miatas change this out for something stronger. The problem is that costs thousands of dollars, so we can't afford to do that quite yet.
So the inside, the actual diff is already welded because of drift car, but these ears can easily break off.
Ask me how I know.
So to strengthen them as best as possible, we're going to cut out some aluminum plates and get them welded on right there.
That way we give it the best chance possible to survive some of these 400 horsepower drifts. This is a fairly common upgrade that a lot of Miata people do when they're making above stock horsepower, but we're gonna be pushing into the 4s, so hopefully it lasts. Got all of our aluminum plates cut out.
Then they'll just get welded, something like that, and hopefully these won't break off.
Had my buddy Trey weld the plates on at his shop since we don't have the equipment to TIG weld aluminum, and they look really nice. Got the diff installed back in the car and hopefully added a lot of strength. Time for the second engine fitting. It turns out that it's nearly impossible to make an LS fit in a stock Miata subframe, so we had to get a different one, and we're about to test it right now.
We're way too far forward though. We got to move the mounts further back.
Okay.
Cam had to cut down our motor mounts to get them to fit in the right spot on the engine. Now we should be able to mount it up and make sure it's in the right spot.
This thing was in the way of this thing, so it had to get cut. We're about right there.
Where we have it right now clears the oil pan, but the transmission is like 3 inches above the transmission tunnel.
That sucks.
Yeah. It's very hard to tell through the camera, but the transmission bolts like right here.
Which
lines up right there.
It definitely needs to go lower still, so we're having an issue.
While we're seeing stuff that doesn't fit, let's try the exhaust.
Dude, that might work.
Ooh.
It's real close to everything. What we can always do is chop this flange off, extend it, and curve it wherever we need it to go, and then put a V-band on it, just so it's easier to work with later on. But I think the general shape of these probably will work.
All right, we get to do the first test fitting of our transmission. This is a TR6060, which is a 6-speed transmission that can hold a lot of power, but we gotta make sure it fits in the car first. We're getting there. It's quite a process of anglage, and we don't have the leveler on our hoist, which makes it a little more difficult.
It's not gonna fit right now. We know that. We just need to see where we have to start making room for the transmission.
I think we're all good.
There's like more room in that trans tunnel than I thought there would be.
I think there's still gonna be some hammering,
Oh,
but the less the better.
We're not quite there yet, but we do still have a little bit of space in the trans tunnel area.
We're wedging a big engine in a place that shouldn't be, but I think it's gonna work.
It fits pretty well. It's the trans that doesn't. Like at this point, it's looking like the top of the trans tunnel, the top of the transmission is hitting that trans tunnel and it's not allowing it to do anything anymore. So we gotta make some clearance in the trans tunnel and in the engine bay a little bit, but I mean, it's in there. It looks pretty cool.
It looks awesome.
Honestly, the engine bay looks like perfect size for this engine.
Yep.
Amazing. Which it is kind of funny. These engines aren't actually that big.
Even the 4-cylinder with the big intake isn't that much narrower, to be honest. So this area right in here
Is a little bit too tall. We're gonna get under there and try and smash it with a hammer and see if we can get it out of the way. If not, we have to take the dash out and cut it all, but we're trying to avoid that. The hammer actually did work to give us some clearance, but now it's time for the Sawzall.
All of this would be a whole lot easier if we could take the dash out. Dash can't come out, at least in one piece. Our roll cage goes right in front of it. Clearance.
Got to maneuver into position. It moved a little bit,
Okay.
not a ton. I'm gonna just hammer a little bit more while I'm here, and then I think we try it and see how.
Okay.
All right, we got a lot more clearance now, so we'll try everything again, and this is probably one of many attempts and a lot more hammering, but I think we got a good start. We'll see how much more we have to do, and let's get the engine back in. Our cuts helped. This thing looks great.
Yeah, as far as we can tell, the engine and the trans are where we want them to be. They have a little bit of wiggle room. I'm honestly pretty happy with where we're at right now.
we've got like 1 millimeter of clearance right here.
Exhaust is still gonna be tight.
This lip right here, we kind of already knew it was gonna have to come off, but now we know for sure.
First time the engine is hooked into the car and will be leaving the lift. Very exciting moment.
And it's off.
It looks so good and kind of natural, to be honest.
It's an LS and a Miata, dude.
Granted, we don't have any exhaust or accessories are on there right now, but it does fit pretty well.
You know what we could put on there? That would make it look a whole lot cooler.
All right, just a little fun treat to reward us for all the hard work. Holy moly.
Look at that.
Oh, you guys, it's gonna be so sick. All right, you can't use this intake if you need a hood, but thankfully we don't need a hood.
It's actually pretty close to clearing. It clears in the back.
It clears in the back, less so in the front.
Yeah, throttle body would probably...
I mean, there's so much more work to go, but this is a good motivational to keep us sticking with it, because this thing is gonna rip. Now it's time to build a transmission brace to help support the transmission, because it's a lot heavier than it was before. So the Miata has these kind of frame rail things, but they're actually really weak. So the plan is to kind of box those in, and then we can build our brace off of that, so we have something strong to support it.
Also, what doesn't help is these frame rails are very crunched and tweaked and not square anymore.
Many people make the mistake of using those frame rails as a jack point, which destroys them, and I am most people. I have definitely done it. Cam finished welding the frame boxes on our Temu welding table, then created the actual transmission support by welding a tab on each end of a round bar. The tabs will get bolted to our new frame boxes, which are welded to the frame of the car. He made a bracket that will bolt to the transmission, which will get welded to the support bar. That way, whenever we need to remove the transmission, we just remove the 6 bolts holding the support bar and it can move out of the way. Transmission mount is fully done. Transmission is bolted in exactly where it's gonna go. Engine is very close to exactly where it's gonna go. Very exciting time. Almost everything is in its final resting place. Cam did clearance the engine bay a little bit more, so we'll test drive the headers again.
So you can see there's not a whole lot of room for exhaust down there, so oh, we can actually fit the headers in now.
Nice.
But That is a steering shaft.
Oh no.
That is unfortunate, because that's a major problem. The transmission is one of the most expensive parts of an LS swap. There's not really any good budget options, or the budget options that are out there are really hard to find. Your best bet is a T56, which is about $2,000, or a TR6060, which is stronger, but costs about $3,000. I got an awesome deal on this TR6060 because the shifter ear is broken off, so Trey is gonna help us weld it back on so we can actually shift gears.
So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tack it in place on both sides. But since it cracked, you want good penetration, so I'm actually going to grind it down in the middle where it's cracked, and then we'll go over it again. And then we'll test fit the actual shifter too.
Quick test fit before making it permanent.
So it's tight.
That's why we check it. All right, we're good as new. Thanks, Trey.
You're welcome.
The last piece of our internal engine puzzle, the push rods are going in. Again, thanks to Trey for, really this whole engine is kind of your doing. You just found a bunch of random parts around your shop and put it together for us, so it should be dialed. Realistically, Trey, what kind of power do you think we're gonna make with this engine?
I don't know 100% because every engine's different, of course, but it is a higher compression engine. It's a 5.3 still, so usually 5.3s with cams and good tuning and not a lot of extra accessories or whatever will make like 350 wheel, but this one is higher compression, forged rod, forged piston. I'm assuming with the cam setup and everything, it should make close to 400. Don't quote me on that, but yeah, we'll see.
400 horsepower in a car less than 2,000 pounds is gonna be sweet. I can't wait to get this thing going.
Meek is excited to help.
Let's go there.
All right, we gotta make sure the injectors are clean. So we got this little green machine that somehow converts battery power to turn on and off the injectors really fast. But all of our batteries are dead, so we have that connected to the battery jumper. It's a whole thing, but it technically is working. We ran into a really annoying problem.
The bolt holes on our clutch pressure plate do not line up. With these dowel pins, it can only be installed one way. Every other bolt hole lines up except for this one, and it is way off.
That's the clutch that came with the transmission. Not sure how it got that way, but it's wrong. So we had to order a new one. It just got here. Now we can bolt the transmission back on and throw it in the car for the final time. Engine and transmission are totally ready to go in. Unfortunately, we have to drop the subframe before we can put it in because there's just no way to zigzag it in there unless the subframe is out of the way. All right, the engine is about to go in for the final time, at least for this video. Probably not ever, but for now. Until the first start, it's going in right now. All right, engine is in. It's a huge pain having to drop a subframe. That takes almost an hour to put it in, which is a bummer. But let's check our exhaust. So we're still debating. We may not have enough room to run normal exhaust down and out the back, but it's a drift car, so we might just run it forward and out the side.
Ooh, it's close.
It's
That's a
real close.
piece of paper. We just go here and then out the sides like that. That'll be crazy.
It's gonna be so loud. All of our cars have to be so obnoxious. I don't get why. We can release the crane for the final time. This is exciting. This has been so many in and out and up and down and
Woohoo!
it is in where it's gonna stay. The countdown is on to get this engine to start. Very exciting times. There's a lot to do still. Installing the steam port vent kit available from Temu. Very good deal on this thing.
The highest point in the coolant system is in the heads right here. And when you have the highest point, air, heat, all gets trapped there. So this kit helps get rid of all of the extra steam, hot water, air that might be in the system and bleeds it all out so that our coolant system works properly.
And it's super cool that it's available on Temu because these can get expensive. Steam ports down, lots of things to go. But that's exciting. We can throw the intake on there, I think. We're ready for that. Tape can finally come off. Obviously the tape's on there to make sure dirt and junk doesn't fall in there while we're messing with it. All right, on we go. It looks so cool. I really love this. This was a solid Temu purchase that we can recommend because that looks good, it fits. That's gonna be cool. All right, time to start connecting the Temu wiring harness.
You know, there's a lot of easy connectors, and that's just what I'm starting with first, like coil pack harness plugged in. We've got our fuel injectors. And that kind of gives me a good idea of where the harness is gonna lay. And then I know I got all my front accessories and stuff like that all ready to go. There's only a few that I'm not 100% sure on, so just figure those out and we'll be all set.
That's pretty good. Only a few is not too bad.
Wiring harness is done. Accessories, oil cooler, power steering, knock sensors. Oh wait, we didn't install that yet. I'll have to rewrite that.
Got a little too excited
Yeah,
on
I thought it was
the air
our-
intake.
IAT, yeah.
So we need to make some slight modifications to our wiring harness because it's a Gen 3 harness with a Gen 4 motor and ECU.
That little tab could be sanded down.
Okay.
Some of these ECUs are pinned slightly different, so we just have to, before we fire to do anything, we just need to plug into it and make sure to see we have the right operating system. Couple of little extra steps doing it this way, but it still should work in the long run.
Very exciting times. We are potentially not that far off from at least trying to crank it.
So now that should slide in, actually work. Hopefully we don't have to do anything. Okay, we're connected.
One piece of good news, it connected. The computer connected to the ECU.
So this is a good check. You got O2 voltage on both sides. That one's a 04 GTO ECU. Sweet, I think that should actually work. This downloads everything that's on this ECU into my computer so we can make adjustments.
We are to the very exciting moment where we get to put oil in the car. Not far off from being able to attempt the first start.
No fuel. There it is.
There we go.
We got it. Just took a minute. Right now we're just verifying that we're getting oil pressure. With these remote lines, it's very easy to get them crossed, and you have, what is it, you have like a check ball pretty much in the oil filter, and it won't filter properly if they're crossed. So we're making sure oil's going through all of our remote stuff. We're getting oil all the way through the engine.
We need to crank the engine to move oil through the lines, but we don't have the right connector to hook the starter to the key yet, so we jumped the starter with a screwdriver. This turned out to be a bad idea, as we will find out soon. Thankfully, the connector arrived, and now we can crank the engine with the key.
First crank! Woohoo!
It's burning.
Something's hot.
Something's smoking.
It smells electrical, so I'm assuming that's what it is.
We're just priming the oil system right now. It's not going to fire up quite yet, but we're close, I hope. We've got all our sensors plugged in. There's so many sensors, but everything should technically be hooked up. I didn't realize that these were directional. When I hooked them up, I guess I hooked them up backwards.
After several minutes of cranking, oil is still not flowing through the lines, which could mean the oil pickup tube was not installed properly in the engine, which would mean having to pull the engine back out to remove the oil pan and inspect the pickup tube.
Did it slide in easy or was it hard?
Can't remember specifically. It definitely felt like it was, the O-ring was,
In there?
yeah, it didn't feel like there was any, it wasn't wobbling around or rattling or anything.
There's some smoke.
Our transmission is missing a cover for a port and it's leaking. That's not the problem though. The problem is the oil not coming through the engine.
Yeah, so whenever you do these, the pickup tube has an O-ring on it and it has to be a certain size. So if it's too small, it just won't be able to suck up the oil the way it needs to.
I mean, I put pickup tubes on so many times. Like
Oh, I believe you.
I would be so mad if that was the issue.
Because literally, like, it's dry.
Yeah, there's no
On
oil
both.
pressure. There's
There we go, stop.
We got oil.
We do have oil pressure, so that's awesome.
Feel better?
Yeah, so not that it wasn't my fault, but that we don't have to take the don't have to take the oil pan back off to try to figure out an issue.
That is a big relief. So what else do we need before we can actually try and crank this for real?
We could try to fire it right now. I haven't changed any of the parameters on the ECU. It might fire, might not, but it's worth a shot. So go ahead and prime it 30, 40 seconds.
And then just
try to start it by itself.
all right.
Fuel pump is priming. Oh boy, this is a big one. What are the odds at the Rad Factory that it starts first try? I'm gonna say 0, but we do have Trey the expert, so it's possible.
Oh, hold on, we got a leak.
Is it an injector?
No, it's the fuel rail.
Turbo thing?
Yeah,
I didn't crank those things, so.
it's all right. Yeah, you fire extinguisher close.
Just in case, we're being
Hey,
safe.
I've had a fire before.
You guys like it when we're safe, so. All right, let's do this thing.
Because this is not turning green. Your conversion box.
It's not turning green.
Yeah, so it's gonna turn green when it syncs together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So, it wasn't spinning fast enough.
Our battery is low, and that's causing our converter module to not turn green. But then we jump packed it, and it did turn green. Now we just connect the fuel pump and the jump pack, and maybe it'll fire. Oh, jump pack's out of battery.
That's what that means.
That's what the beep is. Sick. This is our Rad Factory life, you guys. All right, switched out the battery with one that hopefully has some more juice.
And there's our fuel pump. Ready?
Still red? Alright, so we do need a jump pack still.
Yep, our new battery doesn't have enough juice. We're like this close, and it's the stupid little details.
All right, we got Cam's Lexus jumping the Miata. Let's see it.
Now we'll have enough power.
It's green and red. It's flashing.
5th time's the charm. We have a brand new battery. This time it's gotta work. Red for the most part. I wonder if our starter is blown
That's what I was wondering.
because of that. It was smoking yesterday.
We're not gonna smoke. Let me see what I can do.
All right, so we've been trying to get this thing to start for the last 3 or 4 hours today, a couple hours last night, messing with the ECU now. We found some melted wires.
Remember I said it was probably back charging somewhere?
Yeah.
So we're switching out to a new ECU, which will tell us if it's the ECU that's burned out or the harness.
We would definitely prefer the harness because you could just repin it. Got it. The
Oh.
ECU.
The new ECU did connect to the computer, so that means that we fried the old ECU last night trying stuff.
This sucks, but the problem was that we're dealing with live power, and then we end up grounding our main power. So and then that back charged the system.
So that means no matter what, it was never going to start when we were trying it this whole time.
Yeah.
Alright. I don't think it's gonna do it.
With this ECU?
Yeah.
The ECU that we didn't break isn't correct for our setup, so it's probably not going to work.
Got it.
Got him.
I knew better too.
Well, you are getting smart at least. Now we know.
Oh my gosh. I knew better too, and I went to let go, and you started, and I was like, oh
I
man.
thought you said go ahead and start it. I thought you said to go for it. My bad.
He said, no. Cam heard, go.
That one hurt. Sorry. No, you're fine. So this is a drive-by wire ECU. We need a drive-by cable. Like obviously it's sending spark, but I don't know if something with the throttle bodies where it's like, yeah, I don't want to start right now.
While I searched for a new ECU, the boys cleaned a few things up in the engine bay. And before we called it a night, we decided to try it one last time.
It coughed for a second. Come on, baby.
I don't know. It might not have enough fuel in there. It might not have the pressure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
All right.
All right.
Do it
one
again.
more time.
We'll take it. We count it. Oh, that was so much work, you guys. 2 months to get this car to this point. We've still got a lot to go, but that'll be next video. Thank you guys for watching. Stay rad.
There we go.
Dude, thank you.
You're welcome.
Nice work.